I knew something was special about you the first time I met you because when I stepped foot up to your house, you were blasting Prince.
I was?
You were blasting Prince.
I freaking love Prince.
And I was like, this woman, the woman that you are.
So how long have you been into music? Your whole life?
Ooh, I would say my whole life, but most of my life, it was like my little secret. Like I would just be in my room listening to Janet Jackson and like singing it in my earphones in my room. And even now, so many people that have known me for a long time are like, I never knew you sang because I just kind of kept it a secret. And it was just my thing. And I was like kind of shy about doing it in front of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I still feel that way, but yeah, I would probably say as long as I can remember, I was like singing definitely and performing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I went to a little performance arts school even at a super young age. So I always remember doing that. But then I kind of started taking it seriously more so around high school.
Mm-hmm.
One of my bandmates, actually, I recorded my very first song with him in high school.
No.
Yes. In my mom's house, in my bathroom, in my shower at my mom's house.
No way.
We recorded our very first song together. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And you're together still.
We're together still.
How many bandmates do you have?
3.
3.
3 guys. And then there's me.
And then there's you.
Yes. Yeah.
Your music's awesome.
I
love it. What I've heard of it.
Yeah. It's super funky.
It's funky and fun and kind of free. And
yeah.
chill, but not chill.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're so right.
It's what it is. You're like, this is chill, but I also want to move.
Yes. That's the point.
Yeah.
You want people to move because, I don't know, I feel like dancing used to be such a big thing before. It's like people would go dance. That was like an activity. And now it's just not, I know I've noticed in my generation, like when I would go out to parties, everyone would be lining the room, just standing around, not really looking, not really dancing, just kind of looking at each other. But, I grew up partially in the Caribbean as well. And like dance is such a big thing. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. We're just trying to bring that back. We're like pulling from kind of that like 70s, 80s era of like disco and dance.
I love it.
Yeah.
I was listening to, okay, this is going to date me. You probably don't even know this band. It's called the Little River Band. Huh. You ever heard of them? No, because no one has. I think they're from Australia. But they were big in the 70s. And one of their songs is like, what's the song? I was just listening to it this morning and it was like, well, I saw you across the dance floor. Mm-hmm. And I had that same thought. I was like, what a bummer that we don't dance anymore. I just went out with girlfriends. We just podcasted about it. And we, after karaoke, were like, we wish we could go dancing somewhere. Yes. And there was a club. We went dance. So much fun.
So much fun.
But no one does it.
It releases energy and like trauma from your body.
Trauma?
Yes. Like so many like therapists and stuff, they'll even prescribe like dance therapy because it moves energy through your body. And so we live such a sedentary life and we don't really, unless you intentionally incorporate movement through exercise or whatever, a lot of us aren't really getting it.
Right.
I realized it actually one time because I hadn't gone out dancing for a long time. And then one time I was dating this guy and he was like, oh, let's go dancing. And I was like, what? Like, I was intrigued though. I was like, let's do it. So we went out dancing to soca music and we danced all night till probably like 6 a.m.
Wow.
And then I got back and I was like, I feel like I'm high. I wasn't, but I'm like, I feel like I've just performed or something, where you get that high. And I just was like, I need this. And then shortly after I talked to this like psychic guy, and he gave me a reading and he was like, I'm getting something about dance. Like you need to go. He's like, you're going to find all the answers that you need through dance and through like movement on the dance floor. And honestly, he hasn't really been wrong. Like every time I go and then I come back and I feel like some type of clarity has come through or something.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love dancing. I have a dance party every year for my birthday.
What?
The past couple of years. Like dance floor in the backyard, DJ.
Oh yeah, I do remember.
Yeah, remember that? I have a federal judge as my DJ. crazy is that?
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, right. So one of the little girls, not little girl anymore, one of Ila's classmates in elementary school, her dad is a federal judge, like the first federal judge appointed by Barack Obama. He's awesome. And he, during the pandemic, went back to his roots. He DJ'd in college for a job.
Yeah.
So he started DJing his 3 kids, and he would like open the garage and DJ for his 3 kids. And we found out about it, and we were like, "Hey, do you want to DJ one of our parties?"
I love that.
And he was really shy and really embarrassed. And we were like, "It's just us. We've known you since our kids were in kindergarten."
Mm-hmm.
And he did it, and he loved it so much. He bought like a full-blown light sound,
oh my God,
like a system. He bought a DJ setup, no joke system, and he's DJ'd like all our New Year's Eve parties, all my birthday parties.
I love that.
He really is a federal judge.
Pull him back into it,
right?
Yeah.
So fun though. I love dancing.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I meet a lot of people like that. They're like kind of closeted musicians or closeted artists. Like they'll do it. Kind of how I was. It's like they'll do it, but then as soon as you find out about it, you try to bring it out of them. They're like, I don't really do this for anyone else. Yeah. But that's so awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really fun. I love to dance. I think it's a shame to me that dating and socializing is so different now. It's all kind of on an electronic sort of, but not really. I mean, Ila hangs out with a group of friends, definitely in person.
She's not of her generation though. I feel like she's very special in that way. A lot of people. I've been on dates before where people are literally just like on their phone. And I'm like.
I have too with Bert Kreischer. It's fucking annoying where I go, I'm going to take that from you. It sucks.
Yeah. Check it at the door.
I know. I hate it.
I do not like it.
I don't either.
If I could have a flip phone or just live off the grid, I would.
I know.
Sure.
I think I might too. I'm even less and less on Instagram. I'm just not. This sounds terrible, but I'm kind of bored of it. It's really kind of boring.
I've been bored of it.
Except for the cat videos. Like those.
The cat videos are funny. So I like, out of all the social medias, I really like Twitter because it's so funny. Just the jokes alone is the only reason why I stay on there. Yeah. But everything else, I'm like, how many selfies can I see of the same person at the same angle doing the same thing? I'm just like, I can't. Even if I know you and I love you, I still don't want to see that.
Totally. I feel the same way. I have someone who like posts their workout every day. And I'm like, I don't, okay. I'm super happy you're working out. That's awesome. I love that. But I just saw that picture. It's just a different colored outfit. Yes. Same picture, different colored outfit.
That's why I have to stay off, because then I start to get like petty. I'm like, oh my God, like this is annoying. Like, please. And I don't know. There's some idea that I'm like, I know it's not like a profound idea or anything, but there's something that's coming through me that's like, it starts to feel like everything is done for social media. Like all the art that's being created, everything is done with like the idea of like contentifying it. You know what I mean?
The end is justifying the means instead of just
creating it because that's what you want to do it. Yeah, that's what you want to do. Yeah, I
agree.
So everything I see now, even though it's like, it all kind of looks like the intention was social media instead of the intention just being like something, like a message that you need to share or something that's coming through you.
Or a glimpse into someone's real self, right? Like these packing lunch for my husband videos. Have you seen these items?
Yes, I have.
Where I'm like,
them.
What? Who watches someone pack someone else's lunch? The bane of my existence was packing a child's lunchbox.
Oh my God.
Run. Don't walk away from that. Why am I watching this person? I mean, and people are loving it.
Yeah, they're niches. I'm kind of a weirdo. I don't like those videos, but I like the ones that are like, I'm obsessed with food, so I like watching people cook. I like watching people eat the mukbang stuff. I actually really like.
What is mukbang?
Oh my God.
What's that mean? What's mukbang?
It's a deep dark hole. No.
What?
It's like people, you're literally watching people eat food. I mean, there's
what is the term mukbang though? I'm old lady.
Is it a Thai word or Vietnamese? I don't.
Let's look it up.
Yeah, look it up, because I'm like, I know it's
mukbang.
Yeah. I I'm definitely pronouncing it wrong. But
a mukbang, also called an eating show,
yes,
is an online audiovisual broadcast in which a host.
Yes.
Oh, that's a Korean word.
Korean word.
Okay.
One woman that I love to watch, she's like super tiny and she makes these elaborate meals, like huge, like crab legs, like huge, chicken or turkey wings and like noodles and eggs and all this. And she just sits there the whole time and just is like eating and eating. And I don't know, I'm intrigued. My ex, I used to wake up and watch it and my ex would be like, you are the strangest person I know. I'm like, how is this not interesting to you? I don't know. It's just mesmerizing. I don't know why.
Funny.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So there's like a niche for everything.
Yeah, there is for sure.
I mean, I don't like watching the lunches being packed, but I will watch someone eat all day.
Someone would watch those lunches being packed. So what's your favorite type of music?
Ooh, that's hard. I feel like I don't have a favorite anything. I feel like I'm just one of those people who likes variety. So it kind of depends on my mood. I grew up kind of in a house where it was like soul music, a lot of reggae music, a lot of like R&B, soul, reggae, rock. My dad actually he was a photographer and a writer and a director and all the above. He shot some pretty cool like album covers. So I kind of would go through his music collection, like through his records or through his CDs and stuff. And just, I feel like he was solely responsible for my music taste because it was just so like eclectic. He would go from listening to like Snoop Dogg and DJ Quick to like the Eagles to some like Australian band that I never heard of or some Hawaiian music or
so cool.
Yeah. So I like it all. It just depends on my mood. I really I always say like there's 3 pieces to what I like in music. The music aspect, like the actual track and the instruments that are being played, the vocals. Sometimes I listen to music without vocals, but I really like the tone of people's voices. Mm-hmm. That is like a big, big thing for me. I don't have to know what they're saying. I just really like people's tones. And then the lyrics. Like if all 3 of those meet in the middle somewhere and it's like they're all pretty solid, I'm going to like it. It doesn't matter what genre.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So now here's something that I think is really a bummer nowadays that is kind of how I grew up. I used to listen because I would put on an album or a CD and listen to the whole side, right? Flip it, listen to the whole side. So when you listened to a new album by Janet Jackson, you listened to the whole album, right? But people now, they put the hit out on Spotify or on the radio or wherever you listen to it, and that's all you hear.
Yeah.
So you don't get the benefit of really understanding an artist fully.
Yeah.
And I think that's a real shame because then as a consumer, as a young person that's deciding they want to be an artist, they don't get to see the medium. You know what I mean? Like not every song on an album is a hit single.
Nope.
There may be only one.
And it doesn't need to be.
Exactly. But there's this body of work that is full of language, and language meaning musical language, actual language, tonal language, a language from song to song, because an album is a complete piece of art, right? And no one thinks about, I say no one, I don't think that the general population thinks about music that way. And I know when I grew up, I remember my dad buying an album and putting the needle on the beginning and it going to the middle. And we listened to every song, flipped it, and listened to every song on the other side.
Yes.
I think that's a bummer.
You're speaking my language now because I love listening to albums front to back, conceptual albums, albums that take you on a ride where it's like every song, like you said, there's some kind of common thread or there might be like a few interludes that tie you in. I love albums. I wish that this market was album focused, but again, like to me, it's the whole like contentifying of art. It's like people are single focused. And unfortunately, as an artist, if you aren't single focused, you better be putting out a damn good album that's going to grasp people and really like hold them, because that's how the market is now. Like a lot of artists have to switch gears, and unless you just kind of say, I'm going to divest from this industry, you know, you have to kind of focus on the singles. But I'm an album girl. I listen to that's why I prefer Apple Music to Spotify, because they have more albums. And I listen to them over and over and over and over.
Me too.
Yeah, I like going on the ride. I am going to put out a project, like a solo project as well. I'm working on it now. It's like, I would say maybe like halfway done.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting. And it is going to be it's going to be like the full project. We'll probably drop singles first, but then kind of take it back to the old school way, I guess.
Awesome.
Because I don't know. Singles are fun, but that's just it. They're fun. Like, so after a certain amount of time, I'm like, okay, what else?
It's what I think a disservice it does the artist, in my opinion, is you don't get to really invest in the artist in the same way. Like I grew up listening to all these albums, and when music clearly is, I love music too. I love all kinds of music. I listen to outlaw country, and then an hour later I'd listen to hip hop, and then an hour later I'd listen to rock and roll. I love all kind of music. So as my kids grew up, I was really determined to introduce them to two things. One was classic comedy, like I Love Lucy, like The Honeymooners, like the origins of what you see today, right? The origin of things matters.
Absolutely.
And if you think Taylor Swift is Taylor Swift because of Taylor Swift, you're really shortchanging yourself. She's Taylor Swift because of Stevie Nicks, because of Linda Ronstadt, and they are those people because of Patsy Cline, because of Rosemary Clooney, because of all these women before them. And if you don't have some kind of like depth of knowledge of where these things come from, I don't think you're able to enjoy the today like you are if you can see all this thread of history that comes through to create what has happened today.
Absolutely.
So when my kids were little, I was like, I will be showing them I Love Lucy, The Honeymooners, all these early day comedies because your dad's a comic. And I will be showing you all of this music that's album based. And I will be telling you the story of the album so that when you listen to it, you understand what this whole thing is.
Yeah, you did some work on them, because I can tell like just their sense of humor, they just get it in a certain way that I feel like a lot of kids their age don't get it.
Because they don't watch the Carol Burnett show.
Yeah.
You know, in the car when we had a DVD player, I had like the whole Carol Burnett show collection. And I had both years of I Love Lucy on DVDs in the car. And so I would just put it and go, this is what we're watching. If you can't, they loved I Love Lucy so much. And I thought, if you can get this humor, you can laugh at anything, deep or not, political or not, special or not. You just get it. That's just, you just
agree.
Get it.
Lucy is a particular kind of brilliant. I've been thinking a lot. Well, first I want to say, I knew something was special about you the first time I met you, because when I stepped foot like up to your house, you were blasting Prince. Do you remember that?
I was?
You were blasting Prince.
I freaking love Prince.
And I was like, this woman. The woman that you are. No, honestly, like everyone that knows me knows my affinity. Like Prince is like my...
Oh, a god. Have you listened to this podcast about Prince?
Wait, did you tell me about... I think you might have told me about it.
Yes, the woman, the local Minnesota
no, I
reporter.
haven't listened to it.
Oh, it's so good.
Okay.
You have to... I remember the name of it. It's so good.
Yes. I love me some Prince.
Yeah.
And I do think there's something that musicians and comedians have in common. There's like a common thread. Every like musician that I know is hilarious in their own right.
Mm-hmm.
Like we all have something, and every comic that I know is like knows their music.
Right.
You know, it's just, I don't know what it is, but it's just something where I feel like it's like maybe exercising a similar part of the brain or something. I was thinking about that recently because I'm always like, oh, I'm the funniest person that I know to my friends and stuff. My dad was like hilarious. And so I definitely got my humor from him. But me and my friend are like currently writing a TV series, and it's a comedy series. So
that's awesome.
It's so awesome. And it's so funny because I was thinking recently, I was talking to my best friend and I was like, you know, if someone would have asked me like 4 or 5 years ago how you would make your kind of pivot, I would have never thought to say comedy, you know? But when I think about it, I'm like, I actually am hilarious. And I like, there's nothing I enjoy more, maybe other than music, than like cackling and giggling and like making people laugh and witnessing people laugh. So it's just so funny to me.
Wife of the Party is sponsored by BetterHelp. Comparison is the thief of joy, and it's easy to envy other people's lives. It might look like they have it all together on their Instagram, but in reality, they probably don't. Therapy can help you focus on what you want instead of what others have, so you can start living your best life. I have this saying in my house. It is, run your own race. Just run your own race in life. And sometimes it's really hard to run your own race. And sometimes you need a therapist to mentor you in keeping your eyes on your own prize and figuring out what it is that you want and what's keeping you from getting there. Therapy can be extremely helpful for that, especially in the way BetterHelp does it, because you can do it all online. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Stop comparing and start focusing with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/wife today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/wife. Did your dad pass away?
He did.
He did?
Yeah. So I was like flight attending, I want to say.
You were a flight attendant?
Yeah, I was. That was awesome.
Was it?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it was very hard, but it was also like the travel benefits, amazing. But in 2014, I want to say, my dad, he had already had like a bout with cancer, and then he was cancer-free for like 3 months. They had operated on him and he was fine, apparently. And then my grandmother suddenly passed away from an aneurysm. Yeah, and then 3 months, she went into the hospital Valentine's Day of 2014. And then 2 days later, she passed. And then 3 months later, my dad had stage 4 lung cancer.
Oh, God.
So like for me, I'm so like acutely aware that illness is stress related, you know, because he was technically cancer free. And then him and his mother kind of grew up together because she had him when she was like 15. And so they were kind of just so connected. So it was like he lost his world, you know, and then it came back pretty aggressively. And then he died. And that was like the reason why I moved back to LA.
Oh, yeah.
And my dad was like, he was so funny. He would call me up and be like, I was flight attending at the time and I was working at Hooters in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I was a Hooters girl. I was like right by LSU, like the LSU Hooters. And so I was working.
Why were you in New Orleans? Baton Rouge.
I went to school there not at LSU, but at Southern. It's an HBCU, like maybe 10 minutes away.
Okay.
And so I was there and I had graduated, but I kind of was like, oh, I don't know what I want to do. Like, I don't really want to get like a corporate job or anything. So I was like, I kind of want to travel. So I was like, I'm going to apply to the airline. So I was working at Hooters already. Then I applied to the airline. I got that job. But then I was like, this isn't really that much money. So what I'm going to do is on my off days, I'm going to fly back to Baton Rouge, work at Hooters, and then commute to work. I was based in DC. Commute to DC and then do my flights and then come back and work at Hooters.
Wow.
So I was doing both.
Wow.
And my dad called me one day and he's like, hey, what the hell are you doing? And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, I hear McDonald's is hiring. If you would like to like go and, just start your career there, I'm sure you can become a manager. You can, make $100,000 a year. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, you might as well do that if you're not going to follow your dreams. Like, do what you are here to do. Like, stop procrastinating, basically. And I was like, oh, okay, you're right. So when he died, I was like, well, I'm back in LA. I might as well go for it.
Right.
So yeah, I just kind of came back and started taking music seriously again, like reconnected with my friend from high school. And
the shower singer.
Yeah, the shower singer. Yeah. And we started doing that and then reconnected with a bunch of other friends and kind of just like one of my friends who is kind of one of my creative partners who we're writing this show together with. We had a meeting yesterday. It's so funny. We're like actively writing this show. And as we're reading the script, we're dying laughing every time we read it.
That's great.
I'm like, this has to mean something because I'm like, if we're laughing like this,
right.
I mean, unless we're just like, cracking ourselves up.
Right.
This has to be something,
Well, if you're cracking yourself up, you're most likely cracking other people up. So I want to read it. When do I get to read it?
Ooh, soon, please. I would love that.
I would love it too.
We're like in the phase of wrapping up the pilot. And so trying to get a pitch together. So yeah.
Awesome.
I would love for you to read it.
I would love to read it.
We all we do is like cackle. It could be like, I could be having the worst day and then we have a meeting and then I'm like, I really needed that. Like that
That's
refreshed
great.
me,
I love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I can't wait to read it.
Yeah.
I'm excited to read it.
Yeah. It's been, I will definitely say like being around you guys, just not even definitely here, but just in general has like reignited my love for like just comedy and just, I don't know. It's just been such a, I just feel like I come into work and it's like, we're just laughing. All, you know what I mean? Like we're working, but it's fun too. We're like everyone's hilarious and everyone's like just kind of funny in their own right.
Why did you live in the Caribbean? And how old were you? And where were you? And what were you doing? And why?
Exactly. I moved there when I was about 8 or 9 years old. My stepdad is from there. He's from the Bahamas.
Okay.
And he was a professional tennis player.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He was pretty good. Like
well, clearly.
Yeah. He was ranked like in the top 100 of the world for a while.
Amazing.
Yeah. For a while. So.
Do you play tennis?
Yes. I've played my entire life since I was 3 years old.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. That's what and then I ultimately went to Southern for that reason, like playing tennis. But yeah, we moved there because his professional career was kind of ending. He was like retiring and he wanted to move back to teach tennis to kids. So we packed up and we moved there and it was like right at this like pre-adolescent kind of time for me. So it was like a very pivotal time. Mm-hmm. But it was an amazing experience. I miss it every day. I was there for probably like 6 years, something like that, 5-6 years. We moved back here when I was in high school, like maybe a sophomore. So it was like, I was pretty, those years, it was pretty formative for me. So I kind of, in a lot of ways, I identify more with like the customs and the culture of there versus here, because that's kind of what I grew up with and knew and understood. So like the food, I think when I think of like my comfort food, I'm like cooking Bahamian food. Or when I think of like, my comfort music, or, I go back to that time and I'm listening to all the old like dance hall and reggae music from that time. And yeah, it's super fun. Like something about being that close to the sun all the time really, I think, just makes you happier, Yeah. I miss it every day. I want to move back so badly. Yes. Like I see myself just kind of living there and just kind of coming back to work to the States.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
That would be really fun.
Lenny Kravitz does it.
He does?
Yeah. I think his mother was half Bahamian, or his mother is Bahamian. She was a famous actress.
Yeah, she was. She was on the Jeffersons.
The woman on the Jeffersons, yeah.
Yep.
So I remember always passing his house in Bahamas. He has like a studio and stuff, and everybody would be like, "That's Lenny Kravitz's house," and I'm like, I want to be him when I grow up.
That's cool. A
Yeah.
lot of people do that. Actually, there's a lot of people who live in the Caymans. A lot of famous people live in the Cayman Islands.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful down there. It's really beautiful.
The beaches, the boating, the
water,
everything. I'm just so, I don't know, I guess oriented towards, like, I love the beach. I love water. I remember when we first moved back here, my little brother was 5 and he was like, "Mommy, take me to the beach. I want to go to the beach." And my mom was like, "It's not the beach that you're used to." And he was like, "I want to go." So she was like, "Okay." So she took him and he was like, "Why can't I see through the water? And why is this dirt instead of sand?"
Yeah.
And my mom was like, "Shut your spoiled ass up."
Right?
Like everyone else was like, "Who's this little boy?" And my mom was like, "Shut up."
Right?
She's like, "I told you, it's not the beach
Not the
that you're
same.
used to."
Drastically
Not at
different.
all.
It's so beautiful down
Yeah.
there. That's really cool. That is really formative years. Are you still in touch with people you grew up with there?
Yeah,
I would imagine,
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, every time I go back, I'm like staying with, family members or friends and stuff like that. I definitely wish I could be more in touch with them. I just feel like it's so hard for me. I'm the type of person where it's like, if you're not directly in front of my face in my everyday life, it's so hard for me to kind of like keep in touch and stuff like that. So I'm working on it, but it's like this blindness that happens for me.
I don't think it's blindness. You know what I think it is?
What?
Is being in present time.
Yes, I am very present.
You're present. And I'm very present too. I get accused of the same thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people who are like, "Well, you never call me," and they're upset that I never call them. I think, well, you don't ever call me.
Same.
Why is it my fault?
Same.
I think it's because when you live really present, it makes people feel left out somehow. Even I don't think everyone lives in present time.
No.
I think a lot of people live in the past or the future, and they don't live in the present. If you live in the present, then a lot of things just kind of naturally recede. And it doesn't mean that you're neglecting them per se, or you're not meaning to neglect them. They're just not in present, right? And
I think people aren't used to people being present with them. That's one thing that I have kind of figured out about myself, because when I am in front of, like, I'm the person at the bar having like this in-depth conversation with this stranger about whatever, like, their childhood trauma or something. And so because of that, my friends started to point out, they were like, people get like really attached to you in this weird way. And I'm like, I notice it, but I didn't know why it was until I recently was like, oh yeah, it's because like I'm literally sitting there giving them all of my attention in that moment. And then they kind of latch on to that feeling because maybe a lot of people are not being present. Like we talked about, people are on the phones or they're whatever. But like my phone, half the time I don't even know where it is. I'm just like, but
so
and
now,
I just want to know the deep thing.
I have a question then for you, because I'm similar. Do you find yourself being, I don't know how to ask this question. Do you find yourself without people who reciprocate that?
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I definitely have a few people who reciprocate it, but I just don't actually think most people know how. So a lot of the time I'm the person that like people will call for advice or call for, because they know I'm going to sit with them and I'm going to we're going to work this out. Like we're going to figure this out.
Right.
I feel very lucky and very blessed though. Like in the friendship aspect of my life, I have amazing friends. And I have a really good intuition, so I can usually like weed out people pretty early that I don't feel like. So I feel like the people that are solid in my life definitely reciprocate it.
Mm-hmm.
But most people that I meet, like most people that are like doing the attaching, and they're like, they can't, they just want they want the energy from me, but they can't like give it back.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I kind of feel like I know within the first like 5 seconds of meeting someone if they're going to be, significant or something in my life. But
why are you like that? What made you like that? Were you just wired that way? Is there something that happened?
I think, truthfully, I'm wired like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think there's something that happens when you like move around a lot and you become like kind of worldly at a very young age. You know, when I was a kid, not only was I traveling with my stepdad because he was playing professional tennis, so we traveled all over the world, but with my dad too, because he was, directing and shooting and doing all these things in different places. So you learn different people and you learn customs and you learn patterns. Like I'm a pattern reader.
Mm-hmm.
I like just quickly can assess someone. And I'm also kind of like a little bit psychic, like messages just come through and I don't know why, or like it doesn't really make sense, but they just come through and they tend to be pretty accurate. So yeah, I think it's a mixture of wiring and just kind of like learning to read patterns from like traveling to so many different places and living in different places and recognizing that like people are people. And we all, I was telling Ila this the other day, I always say like there's no such thing as an adult. We're all just like one minor inconvenience away from being our childhood selves. And I think like when you kind of orient yourself to speaking to someone's childhood self, it naturally will like, you can vet easier, but you can also like just see the person more clearly. I don't know if that makes sense, but
it makes total sense.
That's kind of
I think you're probably right. That you're just a couple steps or missteps away from all your trauma and all your experiences, good and bad. They're all right under the surface. It's very true. So funny as you're talking, I was like, I relate to a lot of what you're saying. It's an interesting life when you decide to lead a life that's present, right? There's a lot of good and there's a lot of pain in the ass, man. Sometimes I wish I could ignore the things I see.
Same. I say that all the time. I wish there's just, some people have like this lack of awareness thing that I'm like, I wish that I could lack that much awareness. Like I think my life would be so much easier.
But it wouldn't be. It's not true. No, it just seems like grass is always greener, I think. Because I look at people who don't pay attention or don't own what they see and continue going on. And they just end up repeating cycles, banging their head against the wall, ending up miserable in the same way they were miserable before because they just refuse to stay in the present and make the hard decision. And honesty is not always fun. Sometimes it really sucks.
It really sucks.
Sometimes it really sucks.
Especially like so I'm a really blunt person. And I used to think that was like a positive thing because I was like, oh, I'm just being honest, But as I get older, I'm like, it's actually not, transparency is great, but you have to use more tact and you have to consider like what other people's feelings are when you're saying things that are honest. So as I get older, it's a lot harder for me to be honest about like, I find myself more like, you know what? That's just how the person is. So maybe I just won't necessarily say what I think in every scenario because, and it's like, it's not always appropriate to say what you think in every scenario, but before I would just like call it out, everything. But I'm kind of learning that balance of like what to say, when to say it, how to say it. Especially, with loved ones and stuff, it can be really hard because it's like, I don't want to hurt your feelings or I don't want to like devastate you, but I'm learning the middle ground of like how to speak my truth and honor my truth and live in my integrity, but also this like needs to be discussed. Like this needs to be talked about.
It's hard to tolerate. I have the same problem. My mom used to say, if you don't want to know the real, how LeeAnn really thinks, don't ask her. Because if you ask her, you will know exactly what she's thinking. And it actually makes Bert really nervous because he feels like I'm going to constantly offend people. And my perspective has always been, but there's no need to read between the lines.
No.
I say exactly what I mean. I don't have an ulterior motive. I don't know how to think like, well, if I say this, but I really mean that, then I'm going to get that. I don't do that. So then
much harder.
If I can't do that, I feel like I'm lying or misrepresenting.
Same.
And that learning that subtlety, you know, Whitney Cummings was on my podcast and said something that has helped me so much in this area.
Give it to me.
And she said, intention is different than impact. You have to understand your impact. If you keep the same intention, right? And then you can kind of craft the impact. That's maturity, really. So I can have the intention of being honest, but knowing my blunt honesty is negatively impactful doesn't get me anywhere.
Yeah.
It just makes me impact people.
Yeah.
Like this happened this weekend. Bert and I got into a very minor, not even an argument, more like a misunderstanding where we were just missing each other. And something he did, like I was talking about Ila's last day of school and I was crying. I was really upset because I'd been sitting on these feelings all day to be the cool hip mom at this mother-daughter picnic, and I've got it together. I'm keeping it together. Last day of school, I got it all going on. And then when I was really shitty to him and I kept going, I don't know what's wrong. I'm not upset with you, but I'm upset and I don't know, I can't put my finger on it. I hadn't really figured out it was about sitting on these feelings for the whole day. I said, so just be patient with me because I feel really disconnected and I feel really off. And then when I finally got to what it was, it's about Ila's last day. He had posted a video about me singing. I sing this last day of school song every year since kindergarten on the last day of school. It's the Blind Boys of Alabama, last month of the year. I changed it to last day of school. And I sing this fucking like the Blind Boys of Alabama, like, as if I could sing like those people. And I just do this dance and sing. And she was having none of it. I started singing and she just went, stop, and ran upstairs and he filmed the whole thing. So as I'm saying, like, I think it's about the last day of school and I'm crying. He goes, let me see how many people looked at that on Instagram. And then he goes, oh my God, Nikki Glazer's naked. Can you believe she's naked? Have you seen her naked? I'm crying about my daughter. And I was like, are you kidding me? I just finally got to the root of the problem and you're looking at Nikki Glazer naked. How did we get here? Like, he was like, it just came up. I didn't mean to look at her. I mean, I didn't. I said, well, you shouldn't have looked at the numbers in the first place. I'm sitting here saying, help me. And you go to fucking Instagram because you're probably uncomfortable with how I'm feeling. And we got into this discussion about like, your intention was not to hurt my feelings, but it hurt my feelings. So you just have to apologize for the impact. And I understand your intention. We can talk about that later.
Yeah.
But the impact hurt my feelings. And that teasing apart of the two has been helpful for me to have that terminology because a lot of times I go, I was just being honest.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest.
And you think that like the fair, most logical, most like caring thing that you can do is be honest.
Yeah.
I feel that way too. I think I'm just wired that way, but it's like.
Same.
Then when I started to see how my honesty was like you said, impacting people, I'm like, oh, like I don't want to make people feel shitty or I don't want to make them not want to come to me because, you know, some people, it's like their childhood selves. It's like a lot of times they don't want the truth. They just want you to say, I'm sorry you went through that. Or like, I'm sorry you're feeling that. Or, you know, so I'm learning that. It's like, it's funny. It's like, I feel like I'm saying, I'm learning empathy, but
it's not empathy. What it is, because I'm the same as you, I swear. I think it is being empathetic, to be honest. I don't go to someone, if I go to someone with a problem that I need to complain about, I will say, I just need to friggin' get this off my chest.
Yes.
I don't need any help. I just need to complain. And then I'll complain. And then I'll say, thank you for letting me complain. Not every time, but basically. And then sometimes I need help. Like I'm very clear, but not everybody is.
No.
And it's rude to assume that they are, is what I'm learning.
Yeah.
As I was like, it's the opposite of rude. It's so loving.
I agree.
And giving, to just give it to me straight.
I agree. My friend called me the other day and she's like, hey, this guy that I'm supposed to go on a date with, we've been having great conversation and all week we're supposed to go out on a date on Friday. It's Wednesday night. I haven't heard from him. What do you think I should do? And I'm like, well, there is nothing to do. You just don't leave it alone. Like, leave the situation alone. You're telling me that you want to date someone who like is thoughtful and plan things out and is communicative and all these things. And this person just unchecked all of those boxes. So why are you contemplating about what to do when what you do is exactly nothing? You leave him alone and you keep it moving, right? And she was just like, oh, I knew I should have called someone else. I said, don't ever call me again about something like this.
Right?
I was like, you called me and asked me what you should do. And I'm telling you what you should do, which is nothing. And now you're mad at me for some reason.
Right.
Like, I don't understand. I'm like, especially with the dating, I just have like zero tolerance for it. So I'm just like, I mean, what do you want?
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I'm not the person that's going to like settle if I feel like I'm getting treated in a subpar way, or if I feel like the person's just, bullshitting me. I'm just going to be like, you got to go.
Wife of the Party is brought to you by AquaTrue. I'm always looking for ways to make drinking more water easier, so I don't even have to think about it. I know drinking water is important to staying hydrated and healthy. In fact, 60% of our bodies are made of water. If you're like me, you probably don't trust your tap water. Having safe, clean water is the last thing you want to worry about. But unfortunately, according to extensive research by the Environmental Working Group, 3 out of 4 homes in America have harmful contaminants in tap water. That's why you've got to check out AquaTrue. AquaTrue Purifiers uses a 4-stage reverse osmosis purification process, and their countertop purifiers work with no installation or plumbing. It removes 15 times more contaminants than ordinary pitcher filters. It's the same technology used by all the major bottled water brands, but now it's available for your home and without the plastic waste. The filters are affordable and long-lasting. No changing filters every 2 or 3 months. AquaTrue filters last from 6 months to 2 years. It's even portable, making it perfect for renters or college dorms. We have an AquaTrue filtration system, and for me, walking by it, simply seeing it in my house reminds me to fill up my water bottle and keep drinking water. Being hydrated is so important to joint health, to mental health, to sleep health, to everything, every kind of health. So just seeing that on my countertop is enough to make me keep drinking water. AquaTrue comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, and it even makes a great gift. Today, my listeners receive 20% off any AquaTrue purifier. Just go to aquatrue.com. That's AQUATRU.com and enter code WIFE at checkout. That's 20% off any AquaTrue water purifier when you go to aquatrue.com and use promo code WIFE. This is what I did with Bert in the beginning. Bert would be like, Bert introduced me once. Okay, Bert and I spent every single day together from the first date. Every day he called me at 9 o'clock in the morning. What are you doing tonight? Every day. Every day for weeks. I couldn't get rid of him.
What?
It was like fungus. I couldn't shake him. And we went to a party like 3-4 weeks in where I'd seen him every day, and he introduced me as his friend. And I went,
Ooh.
Excuse me, you have called me every morning at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm your girlfriend. So either introduce me that way or I'll move on. And he was like, oh, he's my girlfriend. My girlfriend, she's my girlfriend. He did that with like every step of the way because I think he was scared and needed permission to claim instead of just claiming, which is what I would do. I'd go, this is my boyfriend. Clearly, we've been together every single day.
Or instead of just like clarifying, like asking, like, hey, I want to be with you. Like, can we be, you know what I mean? Can I call you my girlfriend? Can we be together? Like, it's so... That whole arena is so interesting to me because it's just like, I'm like, you can control like certain aspects, maybe like your career, you have a certain level of control over your emotional life, your development and your growth, right? But with like love in that department, I'm just like, it's just so unpredictable and you're dealing with a whole other human and their feelings and their thoughts and it's just like,
well, I think the problem too is it's super loaded. There's a need to have an answer to this question. Who's my person?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's hard to want something that depends on another person so profoundly, right? You can't really have a working relationship in a vacuum.
Yeah.
You have to have a real fulfilling working relationship with a partner, with a team player. That's why I'm not surprised divorce is as high as it is. How can you marry someone in your 20s? It's such a work project to grow together through all of these phases of your life, from being self-focused when you're single to being other-focused and then having a child and being even more other-focused. And then that focus comes back to you when your kids leave. And all of these phases you go through, aging and, your looks change, your mind changes. I definitely was sharper in some ways when I'm younger, and I'm deeper in other ways now. And how do you, Bert and I constantly scratch our heads and go, how are we still this good, right? How are we still this connected? It takes so much desire, and it's a lot of work. It's really not.
Yeah.
People who have point and shoot relationships are really lucky, super lucky. So much of it takes a lot of evaluation, self-evaluation, and self-correcting, and a partner who's willing to be the same.
Yeah.
To be able to say, you know what, I screwed that one up. My bad. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And learn from it. It's a lot to ask, especially when we don't listen to albums anymore. Everything's about the single. It's about the hookup, and I'm in or I'm out. I'm in or I'm out. How do you have any kind of longevity if you don't watch a 26 episode series of freaking I Love Lucy? It's a whole arc of a series, and we want something super fast and in and out, and it's fast food. And I hate cooking. Cooking is a process. So is everything else that's worth anything.
Yeah.
Anything that's worth anything is a process.
Yeah. I like it's so funny when I like date, I'm like, okay, it's so strange to me. It's not strange objectively, but for me, when people are like, oh, I'm dating to marry, or like I'm dating with this specific outcome in mind. Because to me, it's like widely dependent on the person that I'm dating. It's dependent on the circumstances. It's dependent upon like what phase of my life I'm in and where my focus is. So I just kind of like, I want to like grow. I feel like I want to like grow with somebody, but I don't want it to be like the single. Like, I don't want to rush it. I don't want to be like, go into it like, okay, we have to hit this marker by this time. And this like, I don't know. It's just, I'm just kind of like down to like meet someone. We learn each other and then we decide if we want to move forward versus being like, I'm dating to marry and like, so we must make this work within this construct. So I don't know. And I find a lot of people these days are like that. They're
it's
kind of
not
just
just
like,
these days.
Yeah.
It's always. Yeah. Oh yeah. Everybody in college, I was in college was like lavaliered or pinned or engaged, like by the end of college or shortly after. And a lot of them are still married, which is amazing. That's freaking amazing. I love that. It definitely was not my path. And there's lots of ways to skin a cat. You know, it doesn't have to be what you think it is. Same with raising kids. Same with having a career. It can be whatever you decide.
You're right.
It doesn't have to follow a pattern. And guess what? If you follow a pattern, that's okay too. We were just talking about a friend the other day who Bert was saying, I don't know why she's not more ambitious. She works for someone else. Why doesn't she want to be the boss? And I'd said some people like to punch a time card and go home and have a life. People who want to be an entrepreneur like him, like me, think about this all day, every day. And some people don't want to do that, and that's okay.
That is okay. It is hard though when you like love someone and you want the best for someone and maybe even the person is expressing the desire to want that they want more, but they're not like actively putting any energy towards it, it frustrates me. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
well, that's a little different. That's someone who's saying one thing and doing another.
Yeah.
I mean, someone who's saying,
just like, I'm okay
nope,
with it.
I'm good. My glass ceiling works for me.
Yeah.
I am happy to punch my time card and go home and make a meal and watch a movie, and that's my day and that's my life, and I love it.
Yeah.
Fucking right on.
Some people are here just to like be content, I think, and like choose. I used to think like, oh, we're here, so like we should explore and experiment and do all these things because that's what I like to do. I like to like learn myself and develop myself, but then I realized like some people are just here to like vibe or just like party, like that. Everyone doesn't have to be that way.
No.
Yeah.
Everyone doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
Some people can be softer, easier, milder, measured, calm. That's it's not me at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm measured, but I'm definitely not mild or calm. Remember in the beginning, get quiet and slow down.
Yeah.
That's my whole life.
Yeah.
Get quiet, slow down. Get quiet, slow down. My mom used to go, if you yell one more time, and I'd be like, I was yelling? I was? Stop running. I was running?
See,
I used to run through the house. I wouldn't walk to my room. I would run. And she would go, stop running. And I literally would go, I didn't know I was running.
That's that fire sign.
And I didn't know I was loud either.
Leos are always loud. Always.
I'm Leo's Aries, Leo.
Oh, well, hello. That makes
I'm Leo,
makes all the sense.
Aries moon, Aries rising, Leo Mars.
Yeah.
I'm like, forget it. I'm loud and running all the time.
See, I'm like air and fire. So I'm like Aquarius.
Well, what are you? Yeah.
Aquarius, Leo, Aquarius. And then I have a stellium in Sagittarius. So I'm super fiery. I also have a stellium in Aquarius. I'm super fiery, but I'm also super just like whimsical and like my brain is going nonstop. And
Aquarians are amazing. Aquarians are so creative and like in like this otherworldly, like I don't even know how you came up with that way. Like it's insane. I have so many friends who are Aquarians, and I just marvel at their creativity. Yeah. It's how they think outside the box is just so impressive. I love to watch. One of our friends, Tom, is Aquarius, and if I have a problem I can't figure out, I will ask him, and he will go, "Oh, it's blah 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 blah," and I'm like, "How
love
did you
to problem
even
solve?" Yeah,
don't even know where that came from. That was brilliant.
I'm learning to like lean into my Leo though, because so yours was slow down and be quiet. Mine was like speed up and speak louder, especially when I was a kid. So now I'm like learning to like be okay being seen. Because for a long time I was like not. I would do the most creative and cool things, but I was not trying to be front facing. Even when I was with the band, we didn't start off as a band. We started off as like a collective, just making songs. And then the songs would get discovered by different people and they'd be like, you guys have something. Like you should be a band. And we were like, all right. You know, it was natural. We were friends and stuff already. So, but I'm really, really working on the being seen part because that's really difficult for me. Being seen and being vulnerable, like in front of people. Yeah.
You're so beautiful, though. How are you not okay with being seen? You're so beautiful. Like your whole persona. I don't even just mean your face and what you look like. You're like a beautiful light. You just like, you just are. You're a beautiful person.
Thank you.
So
I appreciate it.
You should let that out because that inspires other people to do the same with their own beauty. Yeah. Beauty, and I don't mean superficial beauty. I mean, everyone has beauty. Inside who they are. Everyone has art. An accountant has art. Artful accounting, right? Everybody has beauty.
Art is the way that you live. It's the way that you carry out your life. It's the way that you cook. It's the way that you decorate your house. It's the words that you string together. It's all of it. I believe everyone's an artist. So yeah, like this is my time. Like a lot of people say, like with Aquarius, we're ruled by Saturn and Uranus. So Saturn is like the planet that brings delays and is very like, it makes you work hard for the end result, right? So a lot of the time Aquarians are more successful like later on in their lives, like the second half of their lives. So for me, I feel like this is the time where I'm like, all of my projects, I have my hand in so many projects and they're all kind of budding. And so it's the time for me to be like, okay, like be vulnerable, put yourself out there, do these things. I'm like in gestation in so many ways. So now I'm like, okay, like even today, I'm like, I had no idea I was gonna be on the podcast. I just came in and then Sarah was like, oh, you ready to be on? And I was like, what? And I was like, I gotta get ready. And then I was like, you know what? No, just
well, this is just hanging out with me.
It feels, I'm comfortable with you. So it feels different. But
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I'm pretty easy hang.
Yeah, but still, I'm like, you get in your mind, you get in your own head, and you're like, I want to say this, or I should have looked like this, and then I was just like, nah,
no, this is beautiful. Who you are, just exactly as you are.
Yeah, reality is. That's
all I'm really interested in. I don't really care about anything other than who someone is, who you are, and who you are speaks volumes by just watching you move through a day and watching you, Khyelle, laugh at the simplest thing and smile and delight in my children and enjoy your moments here. I know that the job that you do here in our company is not your dream job. I was like you in that I had a dream and I worked a job at the same time. And how you approach your, quote, day job really informs how you approach your dream. If you approach your day job with bitterness and anger and resentment, that will bleed into your art, like it or not.
Absolutely.
You can't help it. So you have to find a day job that you can approach joyfully and with gratitude and with grace, and move through your day with such positivity that feeds into your art. Because until your art pays your bills, what pays your bills is a labor of love because it allows you the opportunity to follow your dreams. I worked so many jobs at the same time when I was writing. I waited tables. I worked for caterers. I sold Avon. I managed an apartment building. I just hustled. And every time, obviously, sometimes I'd have shit days at work and I'd get upset and I was angry. But every day I would wake up and say, what an opportunity I have to be able to pay for my life and pursue my dream. And I see you doing that every day. I don't ever see you. You've had very few days where you've even just been low energy when you come in. And it's for reason. It's not because you woke up poo-poo pants. It's because you have actual stuff happening in your life that justifies maybe not being the bright, shiny self we see every day. But I see you. I think you're beautiful as a human being. I love your music. I love it. It's so fun. Isla found your Instagram. I was looking for your Instagram for a while. And I was like, I can't find it anywhere. And Isla goes, I'll find it. And of course, she found it in 2 minutes.
Inspector Gadget
of course. And she was like, this music is amazing. I was like, I'm not surprised at all.
Aww.
It's great.
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
Well, I'm on Instagram at my name, Khyelle Mango, Khy. Do I spell it out? Khyelle, Mango like the fruit. But my band is Last Trip to the Moon. And there's so much coming that I'm so excited about.
Me too.
So much. So,
well, you have to come back and talk about it again.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So I know where to find you.
Yeah.
You're around.
Yes, I will be around.
Well, thank you I'm so glad to know you.
I'm so glad to know you.
So glad to know you.
I feel very blessed and fortunate because I always say like the most amazing things that happen in my life just kind of happened by fluke or like I was looking for work in between jobs and this girl that I'd never even met like recommended me to Jennifer, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah. And she was like, my writing partner actually was like directing a job at Netflix. She met her and she was like, hey, my friend's looking for work. And she's like, not here, but like if I hear of something, like a few weeks later, she was like, hey, I know someone who's looking for something. And then we talked to you guys.
Yep.
And then it was like you guys were just getting ready for Fully Loaded.
Yep.
and you were saying, I think Jen was like, oh, come on board now. And then she was like, no, wait, we're going to go on the tour first and then we'll call you when we get back. And I was like, they're not going to call me. Like, they're probably not going to call me. But like clockwork, she's like, I'll call you on July 13th or whatever that was. And she called and I was like, and I was like, and then it just felt natural. And like, I just meshed. I feel like I just meshed with you guys in a way that is just, I don't know. It's
effortless.
That's the word. Effortless.
Well,
like,
to me, this is the grace of God.
Mm-hmm.
I believe very much in God. I'm not super religious, but things that happen effortlessly like that is because of, it was meant to be. It was because of God.
I agree.
That's just the way, it was just the way. And it may only be temporary. It may be for 5 minutes and then you'll move on or we'll move on and that's okay. And, but for whatever reason, for right now, it's where we are supposed to be together. Our family and you are supposed to be here together. And I hope that you feel valued and appreciated. We talk about you when we're not talking about work because you're so dynamic. You have so much to talk about that we talk about you a lot. So I hope that's
like
okay.
Yapping to y'all any chance that I get.
No. We're just like, she's just such a bright light in her music and she's so talented and she's so great and she's so nice and she's so pretty and she's just everything, so interesting. What a dynamic person. And we talk about you all the time. So
I love you guys.
So I'm glad you came on my podcast so we could chat a little more.
Thank you. Yes, this is fun.
Thank you for jumping in.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime.
Until next time, right?
Until next time.
You're the best.
Oh my God.